practice, physical day for us, right? Third down, red zone, short yardage, goal line, some regular down stuff. Continue to get a lot of guys in the rotation, trying to continue to develop guys to find roles for everybody on the football team in some way, shape, or form or another. And it's paying off. There's a lot of energy, a lot of juice in the practice, and we're getting quality reps, which is the most important thing. Actually allowed us to get a couple of extra reps today due to the fact we were ahead of schedule. We were efficient, tempo was good, so getting ready for Portland State.
Seems like today the practice parts that we were in, you guys were really on your guys to do drills right and get them going. Was that just a standard Wednesday getting this team fired up, or anything different?
You know, we coach hard. You know, we coach hard. We're instructional, right? We're technical. We stress fundamentals, but we bring intensity with that. And that's, in our opinion, you know, everyone does it differently. We feel it's a trademark of a good teacher, one that could bring passion to the table, but stay technical and stay on the fundamentals, because at the end of the day, that's what we're training for. We're training to be just a better football team, and to do so, those things have to be on point. And they have to get better week to week. You can't allow for any kind of regression, or reverting. And we're seeing the progress, but you can't take your foot, you know, off the pedal at all, because human nature will kick in if you let it, and we just got to find a way not to let it kick in.
It's human nature for people to look at the other team and how they've struggled in recent history. How do you make sure your team's kind of dialed in regardless of?
You got to look at yourself first. You know, you got to ask yourself, what are you doing? And are you doing it to the best of your ability? Are you practicing to the best of your ability? Because to achieve the goals that we want to achieve, every single member of this organization, including coaches, including trainers, including, you name it, nutritionists, everyone has got to step their game up. And that's the goal of the season. Every single person improving bit by bit, day by day, in all of our processes of what we do. So it does start with that. It also starts with the fact that, and we showed them the scores of all the games last week. We have showed them how Portland State, you know, had Oregon State on the ropes last year, really took the last drive to change that game. Not to mention some of the other scores that we talked about a couple of days ago. So I don't think that part is difficult. But I will say this, you have to always work on the mentality. If it feels comfortable for a second, you're probably not doing it right. Does that make any sense? I don't know. That's my father's fault. He's the one that made me. Oh yeah, all the time. All the time. I make myself uncomfortable sometimes.
How important is it for the backup quarterbacks to get snaps in games when they're fairly one-sided?
It's important for them. It's important for everybody, you know. Now again, I want to prefix that by saying that that's not how we're looking at our opponent. We're looking at our opponent with respect or whatnot, but it's important to get everyone that's capable of playing. It's important to get them all reps. Quality reps against quality opponents like we're playing week in and week out. It's invaluable because it is different. I think it shows in, you know, in some of the plays on Saturday where we got a pretty well designed play, but a guy steps the wrong way after having stepped correctly 400 times at practice, where there ain't a 60,000 screaming, you know, fans in it. So I think I think you've got a great point there. It's critically important.
You mentioned the Oregon State game from last year. Do you mention to the guys that, hey, in-state team, maybe a little extra motivation from them trying to knock down the big dogs?
I tell them that I've been in that locker room. You know, I've been at the school that wants to go across town and make it like the day. Wants to make it a historical day, and there's a passion and energy that comes with that. You know, and at the same time, let them know that emotions are great and everything else, but reality is what the game that we live and die by on a daily basis. So the reality of the matter is that we have got to play our best football week in and week out, and you know, you almost have to make those goals unreachable, so to speak. Does that make sense?
Yeah.
You know, you've got to set the bar so high from an effort standpoint, an execution standpoint, a technical standpoint, where it's really hard to reach, so that we're always striving to get there.
Do you expect to have Lamar and Diamador available on Saturday?
I don't know about Lamar. I would say Lamar is questionable at best. Diamador, we expect Diamador to be there.
Would you expect Keith Sims to step into that role like he did this past Saturday if Winston can't go?
I think Keith Sims has done a heck of a job, and his motor's relentless. You've seen that. He's a really good player on special teams. He still has to learn both positions, but he's learning them, and he's learning them fast. When I say both, I mean outside and inside. He's a very valuable player. He's coming on strong and learning more and more and getting better. We expect him to play a really good game on Saturday.
You mentioned having been in the other position here, you know, from the Portland State perspective. How helpful is that for you and kind of delegating out to your staff, knowing in a way the mentality of how they are preparing and looking at this game?
Sure, and I think you just summed it up with the word mentality. It's a mentality, and the program has to ooze of that mentality all the time. And also you have to make sure that as you approach a football game, make sure you always have the utmost respect for your opponent. For the sake of the sport that it's always been, and the fact that those guys have some good football players that can make a lot of plays. I mean, they were up 9-0 last week, within, I think, 5 minutes of the football game. So I think all those things combined, plus the fact that our guys, we're so real, we're so brutally and bluntly honest with our guys that I think there's a very clear understanding of what must be done. But we're always on guard about human nature setting in. So that's why we're so intensely passionate on practice.
Is it sometimes difficult, especially for some of these younger guys who are high-level recruits coming to a big program like this, to kind of give them the reality check and say, hey, you are not above the team that you are playing this week?
Well, I haven't seen it yet, but I know that it's something that, again, you have to be mindful of. You have to keep a watchful eye for, because sometimes they just don't know. Some guys played on high school teams that never lost a game. They haven't experienced. They haven't paid the price like some of the guys have done in college. Like we paid the price, over the last couple of years. So there's an educational aspect to it, and I guess we never stop teaching it. We never stop.
How much of an improvement has the defense made in Levitt's second year? I mean, no, it's just one snapshot, but what are you seeing that's different from last year?
Well, we, early on they got us with the run, pretty good. So we got to continue making sure that we do a better job early against the run. I think we got a lot of really good playmakers. I think the best thing we did this past week was that third quarter, the opening drive, was getting a pick six and continuing the momentum of the game. I thought that was big. And the fourth quarter, getting a shutout. And I think that the combination of Coach Levitt, Coach Hayward, who I know I mentioned him, and Joe Salovey a lot, because, guys, it merits the fact of what they're doing in terms of the defense and helping us get better. I think those guys, along with Dante, along with Court Dennison, the addition, we had the addition of Rod Chance, who was a coordinator at Southern Utah last year. Our defense is going to keep evolving. And I thought all those guys just did a really good job on Saturday, just getting us going and getting the ball back to the offense so we could kind of get the momentum back on our side.
Depth is if Winston can't play an outside linebacker, and like guys like Keith and Hollins and Adrian, how have they kind of performed week one?
You're talking about Keith and who else?
Adrian and
Adrian. Well, Adrian's a talented guy now. He's a talented guy. He certainly has a lot of juice. He's learned the position. He's still raw, and I think when a guy doesn't get here mid-year, sometimes there's a couple growing pains that go with it. But he is catching on. He's catching on fast. We're going to play him and play him a bunch. And we expect him to have success. He'll make some mistakes, and that's okay. He's going to make more plays and he's going to make mistakes, and we have to get more guys playing, right? If guys are good enough to play, but they don't quite have it yet, well, it's on us to make sure we get them ready.